loves, it's Lacey and welcome to our space. So today I have the pleasure of collabing with my crafting bestie Sheryl over at Home Ridge Studio. When Sheryl and I met a few years back, we knew that we were going to be spending a lot of time together, and luckily we lived right close to each other and talked to each other every single solitary week on the phone over our love of crafting. We love to pick up things from different thrift stores and some of the specialty stores in our area, and we both love crafting on a budget. So today we are bringing you something different. On both of our YouTube channels, we have brought you some inspiration in the form of tablescapes, and here is a little preview of one of the ones that Sheryl did last year on her channel for the winter season. It was after Christmas and she did this for winter, I do believe. I know that on my channel, I have done several tablescapes in the past as well, including this one right here that I set up for a Mother's Day brunch. I just love making my table look very inviting and ready to entertain someone, and I like to do things that are a little bit off key and a little bit whimsical as well. So we're going to start off here with my dining room table. It is from IKEA. It has been through some things, so we had to modify some things for it, but I love this table. It comes with two leaves that store inside the table, and I have them both in right now because I do believe I will need the space, even though we are only going to be setting a tablescape for 4. I'm showing you here in my narrow dining room, and what we did is we recently decided that we're going to remodel this and cleared it out mostly. And I ended up purchasing those 2 cabinets that are in the back on either side of my large window from Amazon, and I started storing a lot of stuff in those and then moved these 2 that are really close on the right side right next to each other. Now, my husband games in this room on a regular basis every week, every Saturday, and so he had his card gaming stuff called Magic the Gathering all over my table. That's the reason I bought the cabinets in the back. They were $100 each at Amazon, but I do know Walmart sells these right now, and they are only $79.99, so they are $80 if you're interested in something like this. But before that, I had all of my tablescape stuff, and you can see some of it there stored in those 2 cabinets, and they were in the back, so that's why it's a little crowded in here. Once we change our flooring and I do something to the walls, it will look a whole lot better. But back to our tablescape. They don't sell this table any longer, and I love it, so I stretched it all the way out. And if you've been on my channel before, you know I'm extra, so we're going to use the entire table for this tablescape. So let's get started with that. So the first thing that I did here is I took this sheer fabric that's really super long and quite wide, and I used to use it for a swag for that window that's in the back until I decided on the shears and the regular curtains. It's all wrinkled and everything, and it is too big to be on this table, but black wasn't the aesthetic. So I'm taking some 2-sided tape and I'm just taping it down to my table. I've done this in the past. And then I'm sticking the sheer fabric to it in different places all around. It's going to look a little crazy. I did contemplate just ironing that or steaming that, but if you've been on my channel before, you will know that I'm a little bit chaotic and whimsical, and I like a messy look to start with things, and then it'll come together in the end, so don't panic. Next, I am putting down this gorgeous table runner. I wish you guys could see it. It came from Home Goods recently in the last month. My husband actually found it for me, and it is velvet. It's cream color. I think it's coming across a little more white, but it is going to be gorgeous. It has magnolia flowers on it, and they have a little bit of a bronzy gold and silver tone in with it. So I'm just going to run that like a normal table runner down the center. Then we are going to work on our very first DIY. It is with these gorgeous dishes that came from Walmart of all places. This is the soup bowl that I'm showing you, and you can really see the detail in the scallop on this. It's from Pioneer Woman, and the design is called Colette. Initially just bought these that you see here, though I had 2 more soup bowls and 1 more salad bowl. I bought them to make sure that I was going to have something like this to craft with, but I love them so much that I wanted to get the entire set. The problem is I have a husband, and I don't know if the rest of you have husbands or wives or significant others or children that like to fight with dishes, and or the dishes don't get along with them, because my dishes always lose. They always end up getting broken and chipped, and these are stoneware, so just be aware of that. I will link them down in the description down below, because I know they are selling out so fast from Walmart if you want to check them out. And I'm sure you can guess what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to take the soup bowls. Like I said, I have 3 of them. And I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue. I use Gorilla Hot Glue around the edge of them. And then I'm going to glue them down to the plates. I have 2 salad plates, like I said, and 1 dinner plate. And we are going to be making risers for our table. This is going to be part of our centerpieces. And these are dishwasher and microwave safe. And what I'm doing to them will not affect them being food safe at all. And they will come apart easily, so I can use them as dishware. What we're going to be doing is placing some Dollar Tree candles on those. I got these a couple of months ago, maybe even 3, when they were the prices of mark. This was $3 and the other one was $5. But unfortunately, Dollar Tree, as we know, raised their prices. So the little one is $5 now and the big one is $7, which I would never pay. I would rather go to Home Goods or something to look for candles. So I took off the actual packaging paper, and I discovered that these look way too plain with it like that. The large one obviously is going to go on the big dinner plate, but we're going to also do something to each one of the candles, because I did not like what they look like just plain. I grabbed some ribbon from my stash. I actually used this for my daughter's wedding last year. I really like that it kind of matched the kind of tanny gold tone in the plate, and it has ribbing around it. It looks like they're like little stripes, and I thought it went really well with the scallop. So all I'm doing is wrapping around the candle, cutting it off to the length that I need, and then I have some double-sided tape that I'm going to take and just put on one part of the candle. I already did one of them, as you can see, and I want them to match up, so I'm just measuring them out, because I really didn't do these right down the exact middle of where the candle sits inside of it. So I wanted them to match up. They're not even going to sit next to each other, but this is the best way I thought to do it. And then I'm just going to wrap it around these and press it down with double-sided tape. It's easier, and you don't have thick glue on it. And the candles actually come out. So I could have not used the smoky part of it and just used the candle, but I bought them because they were smoky for a fall. So I'm not going to put that ribbon on the big one in the same spot, because one's shorter than the other. I'm just going to put it in the middle of the section, and this is what they look like sitting there. And as you can see, I have these magnolias. They came off of a garland that I've had for probably 10 years, and they are gorgeous. They're white. They also had a pink counterpart on the garland as well, and I have magnolia leaves sitting there. You can see some of them are bigger than others, and I just love them. So we are going to be using this, and it just ended up being a coincidence that I had a runner with magnolias on it. So what I did is I took them and I glued some of the magnolia leaves to a couple of them, especially the smaller ones, because this is a smaller candle holder. And then the other leaves, I just stuck them down with some double-sided tape onto the plate. It won't affect the plate at all. You can even put hot glue on it, but that's all I did, is stick them on like that. The actual white flowers are not glued down at all, the magnolias. And I've had enough of this left over that I cut dovetails in them. And then I took and I twisted them to make like little bow ties, pinched them at the end, put a little hot glue on. And then I'm going to just stick it to the magnolia leaf or to the other flower like this. And I'm just going to hold it on there for a second, and it'll give it a little more detail and hide at the end of the magnolia since they are not on a stem. I thought it looked a little funky just seeing the end when they were sitting there. So that's really all I did. Now, I also had this ribbon. It was from Joann Fabrics, I think. I think they're the ones that have this brand. And I cut some dovetails in some of those. And I know someone's going to ask me exactly how I did it, so I'm just going to show you real quickly here. I just folded it over. Then I cut off it from my ribbon. I normally keep my ribbon on the roll until I cut where I want. I know it's a little different, but if you see me before, you see me do this. Then I'm just going to fold it in half and dovetail it, which is cutting on the diagonal. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And then it'll give you these little ribbons that look like banners on the end. And I'm just doing them really small because I don't have a lot of these ribbons. I just grabbed them from my stash. I didn't buy them specially for this project. So then once I have two pieces, then I just do the same thing with these. I twist them in the middle. Those are a little longer than the other ones I already started, and I thought I was going to use those on the bigger candle, but I did something a little bit different there. But I'm going to twist this one too, like 2, maybe 3 times around, then fold it in half and pinch it in the middle and put a little glue on it. And it kind of fans out a little when you put it down, and it looks really pretty. Next, let's prep for our next little DIY. These are some napkins that came from Home Goods. If you don't know by now, Home Goods is my favorite store. And I know they're a little wrinkled, but you won't notice that at all. They're super soft, and they're the perfect color for this. So what I'm doing is just accordion folding them. I'm going back and forth and back and forth. I'm doing about 2 inches. And you want the ends both to have the raw edge like this facing the same direction. So mine didn't work out like that the first time. Just redoing it quickly to show you what it's supposed to look like. And then we're going to set it aside and move on to our next simple little DIY. It's actually just a fix because I have napkin rings for this, but I don't really care for them. So we're going to do something about that. I got these at Home Goods probably 5-6 years ago, and I pulled them out of my stash, and I never want to use them because I don't really like the brassiness and the distressing that they have on these. The gold doesn't match most of the golds that I have in my all of my dishes and all of my things that I use for my tablescapes. So I'm just taking some gold leaf rub and buff, and I'm fixing that. I'm only doing the fronts and the tops of the back because I think that's all you're going to see, because you're not really going to be able to see the ring part on the napkin. Once that is all done on all 4 of them, then I'm just going to wipe them off with a butt wipe and then dry them here like I'm doing with the paper towel. And next, then, we're going to move on to our actual place setting. I have these chargers that I'm in love with. I was trying here to see who they were from and who they were by, and it was just like care instructions and things on there. I have 4 of them. I do believe I purchased these at Home Goods. If not, then I got them at World Market some time ago, 5-6 years ago. And I'm going to be using it as our charger. I think it goes really well with the more neutral tones and earth tones that I'm using for this tablescape. And then I got these china plates along with some salad plates that we're not going to be using from the Goodwill, and they were all individually marked 59 cents. And I did get these probably about 5 or 6 years ago, but I think it goes perfectly well with the charger, with our napkin, and you can see we already put it in our napkin ring. And then I am using these for the very first time. Now, I've had these in my stash on clearance from Home Goods. Oh, probably the same amount of time. And I love these plates. I have never done a tablescape with them. I have several fall salad plates. And so this is the first time I'm using these. I love how this turns out. I know the plate is more white than the color of the china, which is more of an off-white, but it still goes in my book because there's white on the table as well. And you can see with that bowl, it's got white in it with the colors that are in the plates. I really like that it is a wide gold rim around the pumpkin plate, and then the other one has the thin gold rim. I'm all about textures and interest and everything and making your tablescape look like it's inviting. So how I'm going to set it up is like this, with the napkin sitting on the top of your charger for you to get on the table. It almost looks like the place setting has a bow. And you guys know how I love a good bow. So let's go on and to our next thing. We have these 2 candle holders that I'm in love with, and they are from a flea market that is in our senior center every year. They have so much stuff. They were only $1 for each of those, and they're really nice. And then I ended up pulling out some tea lights and these other candle holders. These are in plastic, and I thought I was going to use those. I love the ones that are in plastic because they stay in and they hold up real well, and they don't distort the color of anything that you're using. But I'm not using those because they don't fit. And when I looked in my stash, these candles said that they were fresh magnolia. So I thought it was a sign. I had one already that was out of the casing, and I just took another one out of the casing, and we are going to be using both of these on the stands. So I had a few pieces of that ribbon still left because I really didn't use it on the large candle, and I'm twisting them just like I did before, but instead of folding it in half, I'm making like little bows and then putting them on the edge of these candle holders just because they seemed a little plain. It was completely unnecessary, but I'm doing this because I like my table to be full. I like it to be very, very full. It needs to have a presence of its own, basically. So you'll see that here in just a second that I have already quite a bit on my tablescape. You can tell that I'm not afraid to just keep going and add things because the textures and everything makes it feel very inviting. Next to my place settings, I have some gold silverware, or I guess it's still silverware. I have had this in my stash for a little while. They sell it at Walmart, and I think you can get it at Amazon too. And you can see how the napkin sits in there very nicely. And it matches the color of the silverware, the napkin ring, and the color of the plates. I also have water glasses and just simple wine glasses on the table. Those are just from Libby, and I think I probably had them at least 20 years. I bought a whole bunch of them way back in the day, and they look perfect with this. And then I found these. They are from Aldi's. They are fall appetizer plates, and the colors go so well with this tablescape. I had to have them. They also came in white, and I took one and put them a little diagonal towards the place setting on either side. And I think they're perfect for setting bread on there, or you could lay your spoon if it's dirty down on there, or if you have an appetizer section or charcuterie board on your table, these would be perfect to gather your portion at your table setting. Then I went into my stash and I just looked for things to decorate with. And I have these two little pumpkins that came from Dollar Tree. I don't even know when, probably like 10 years ago when everything was still $1, and I put one on the other side. Now, I'm not normally so symmetrical on my tables, and you'll see it's going to change here, but I did like that I had two of those and it went well. Next, I'm from a family where we put all of our serveware with our food right on the table. So we're going to start off with this marble stand that I have, and I'm going to be placing a Dutch oven on here. But I wanted to give it a little decoration, and I had this piece that has galvanized metal on the back, and it's magnetic, and it has these little pumpkins, and I thought that would be great for fall too. It is that blonde wood that everyone has, and I really love it. I actually took rub and buff to it, and I turned it upside down where the little screws are on it, so the sign's on the other side, and it worked out perfectly to bring in some of the colors, and I put my pumpkin Dutch oven on it, and I love it. It's just perfect. And speaking of serveware, the Pioneer woman made a condiment set and tray to go with the Colette servingware. I didn't even know they had this. I picked this up about a month ago. I just noticed that it was on the shelf. It is little ramekins, and they have lids, and they sit nicely on this tray, but you can use them all independently. You can put something different on the tray and put the ramekins out with some condiments in them. And of course, then I hunted it down, all of the pieces from the set. This is their oval serving tray, and I had to have that as well. Now, I'm not advocating that you run out and buy all the nice new dishes, but I'm due for new dishes, and so I picked up all the pieces because I love this set so much, including these nesting bowls. I actually got these about 2 months ago when I was out where my sister lives. My Walmart didn't have those. And so I took the largest one and set it on the smallest one to elevate it because I didn't need all of them. And then back in the middle of the table, I put the middle one. And they also had these dinner bowls sitting next to that. And I ended up getting those because I thought it would be perfect for a salad. So here's what the Tablescape looks like. You can see I put a little pumpkin over there by that one, and I added in some other little pieces like the little acorn down by where the place settings are. There's two of those on the table, and then I have this little light up acorn that sits over here. I love how this turned out. I literally have all the serve pieces to the Colette except for one, which is a serving bowl that they have. And I did order it, but it was in back order and it is just coming to me tomorrow or the next day. So that is the only one I don't have on this table. That is it for this video, and I want to thank my crafting best friend, Sheryl from Home Red Studio. I am going to be linking her channel and her video down in the description down below. Make sure you go over and show her some love and tell her I sent you. You have got to see what she's doing. I have it on authority that if she is doing something much more glam than what I did here. I think this is high end, but still on a budget with my Walmart plates and stuff, but she has some gorgeous pieces, and I know some of them came from Home Goods, and I really cannot wait to see her entire video. So comment down below, what was your favorite part of this, if anything, and would you be interested in doing tablescapes, and do you want me to do more? Because I think I want to do more tablescape shop with me's and things like that on my channel coming up. Also, I will be linking down in the product description all of the plates from the Pioneer Woman Colette series. They came not only in cream, but in blue and in purple and in a green, if that is more of your kind of aesthetic in your house. But that is it for this video, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye, loves.